Welcome to this explainer. I am absolutely thrilled you're joining me today because, well, we're going on a profoundly emotional journey through time. We're unpacking Thomas Hood's classic 19th century poem, I Remember, I Remember. Now, this isn't just some simple nostalgic look back at childhood. It's a masterful, deeply layered exploration that violently contrasts the bright, soaring innocence of our early youth with the heavy, often crushing weight of adulthood. We're going to break down exactly how Hood uses vivid imagery, specific poetic devices, and structural rhythms to really make us feel the passage of time.
Okay, let's dive into this, and we're starting right off with a jolt. The poem opens with the speaker reminiscing about the house where he was born. It feels warm, it feels safe and comfortable. But almost immediately, he hits us with a jarring contrast. He remembers the beautiful mornings of his childhood, but follows it up by confessing that in his current adult life, he often wishes the night had simply taken his life. It's a stark, heavy, emotional shift. It immediately hooks us because it reveals a shocking despair in his present, completely shattering that idyllic memory of the past. Adulthood, he's telling us right out of the gate, is definitely not always sunshine and roses.
To really pull us into his world, the poet immerses us in his earliest childhood memories. He describes this specific, small window where the morning sun would shine through. But notice the language here. The sun came peeping in at morn. He's personifying the sun. To the child, the sun wasn't just some giant star in the sky. It was a friendly, perfectly timed visitor that never came a wink too soon, nor brought too long a day. It's a gorgeous metaphor for the perfect balance and hope that characterizes our early years.
Moving forward, we get to take a stroll through the vivid gardens of the speaker's past. The visual details start piling up to symbolize a simpler, vastly more colorful time. We see the vibrant roses, both red and white. Hood uses these bright, natural elements as anchors for his memory, painting a rich visual landscape of a world utterly untouched by the grayness of his adult reality.
And he doesn't stop at roses. He vividly recalls the violets and the lily cups. But here is the absolute genius part of his description. He doesn't just view these specific flowers as ordinary plants. In the text, he describes them as flowers made of light. This shows us the speaker's childhood vision. Through the eyes of a child, the ordinary world is completely magical, right? These flowers were literally glowing with an ethereal light that simply doesn't exist for him anymore.
And this brilliantly illustrates a shift from the still objects in the garden to the active, breathless play of youth. Hood recalls the exact spot where he used to swing. You can almost feel the fresh air rushing by. In fact, that's exactly how the poet describes it. He imagined the air rushing past him felt exactly the same as it would for a swallow taking flight. It's an image of total, unrestricted freedom and delight.
Section 1. The Power of Nostalgia. Structural Heartbeat.
To understand his method, we have to look at the literary device of anaphora. This is just the repetition of a word or phrase at the beginning of successive clauses or stanzas. Hood uses this device relentlessly to stress just how strong, how alive, and how inescapable these memories are in his mind. He is practically chained to his past.
That anaphora is centered entirely around a single, incredibly powerful phrase, I remember, I remember. This isn't just a casual repetition. By starting each stanza this way, it becomes an echoing heartbeat of the past. It pulses throughout the entire poem, a constant, rhythmic reminder that the speaker's mind is completely fixated on a time that is gone forever.
Section 2. A Garden of Memories. Nature as Character. Here, he brings deep, personal, and familial feeling into the imagery by connecting nature to his loved ones, focusing on two specific memories: the lilac bushes where a robin built its nest, and the golden laburnum tree. He specifically mentions that his brother planted this laburnum tree on his birthday. Suddenly, the poem isn't just about pretty flowers anymore. It's about the deep roots of family, shared history, and childhood milestones.
And then comes this incredibly powerful realization, punctuated with an exclamation mark by the poet himself: the tree is living yet. The speaker is struck by this excited, yet somehow tragic surprise. While he's grown up, changed, and slowly deteriorated into a burdened, heavy-hearted adult, this literal piece of his childhood miraculously survives. The tree stands as a silent witness to the relentless sands of time, totally unchanged, while the man who remembers its planting has changed completely.
Section 3. From Feathers to Fever. The Emotional Shift.
So, the crucial point is exactly how Hood contrasts his emotional states. He describes his childhood spirit as flying in feathers, light, soaring, free like a bird, full of this feverish excitement that not even summer pools could cool down.
But when he looks at his adulthood, that spirit is now incredibly heavy. He is bogged down by the cares, the weariness, and the harsh reality of the adult world.
Let's actually read directly from the poet's words. My spirit flew in feathers then, that is so heavy now. This is the exact metaphorical shift. It's not just a physical aging, it's a spiritual anchoring. The feverish excitement of youth has been utterly extinguished by adult weariness. The boy who felt the fresh air like a swallow is now a man chained to the earth.
Section 4. Farther off from heaven, the final realization.
The speaker's final memory centers on the tall, dark fir trees of his youth. As a child, his rich, completely uninhibited imagination led him to believe that these slender, towering treetops literally touched heaven. To a boy, the sky wasn't some distant atmospheric layer. It was right there, sitting right on top of the trees in his own backyard. The magical and the divine were completely within reach.
He looks back on this belief and labels it what it was: childish ignorance. But he isn't mocking himself. In fact, he tells us that knowing the scientific or adult truth brings him little joy. Why? Because understanding that the trees don't actually touch the sky also brings the painful realization that he is morally and spiritually farther from heaven and farther from purity than he was as a boy. He has drifted away from that innocent grace, and the knowledge of that immense distance brings him intense heartache.
Section 5. Structure and meaning, the architecture. Let's move to and see how this builds structurally. The poem itself is built on 4 very structured stanzas, each containing exactly 8 lines. Now check out the rhyme scheme. A, B, C, B, D, E, F, E. This means lines 2 and 4 rhyme and lines 6 and 8 rhyme. So what does this actually do? Well, this cyclical, highly structured rhyme scheme gives the poem a rhythmic, pulsing heartbeat. Just like the anaphora of I remember, the very rhythm of the words mirrors the cyclical, repetitive nature of memories that just keep surfacing in the speaker's mind, completely refusing to let him go.
To summarize our takeaways from the sources, let's look at the core themes that make this poem such a timeless masterpiece. We've explored the relentless march of time, the stark contrast between carefree youth and adulthood burdens, the physical ache of nostalgic longing, and how nature serves as a living character and a witness to our aging. Hood has perfectly, almost painfully, captured the universal human journey from simple, glowing innocence to complex, heavy reality.
And that brings us to the end of our explainer. But I want to leave you with a provocative question to reflect on. As time relentlessly marches on in your own life, how do you cope with the loss of your own childish ignorance and the growing distance from your innocent past? Do you look back with the same heavy sigh as Thomas Hood, or can you still find those flowers made of light in your present? Thank you so much for exploring this profound work with me today. Keep seeking out the deeper meanings, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.